What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what really moved and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi, surprisingly, did close in the red. Nothing substantial, only 1 cent, but still something fell off with SoFi today. And over the last couple trading days, so last Friday as well as yesterday, you had SoFi piggybacking and in some cases actually leading the Fintech push higher. Just today, it lagged. So 1349 the low, 1383 the high, and somewhat low volume. So 54 million shares being traded, 63 million is the average. So again, no news from SoFi, no SEC filings. Next big thing might be coming out tomorrow. So that's with the fireside chat. So Chris is going to be doing that. So hopefully that'll push the stock higher. As I've mentioned historically, of course, with me bringing it up, maybe it might kind of inverse and jinx it. But historically, every time one of these fireside chats do occur, SoFi closes in the green. So something to keep in mind. But just comparing SoFi to pretty much the other fintechs, you had Upstart. You had them up 6.43%. You had Robinhood absolutely on a tear, new 52-week high, and I guess all-time high for Robinhood. So yeah, I think big things are coming for the fintech sector. Just you need to get on board. You need to be innovative and all the other fun jazz, which I know technically is one of those hot topics with SoFi, but even Lending Club went up 3.87%. So absolute insanity. And of course, I think people's go-to is just, hey, it was shorts. Wasn't actually the case. Shorts did return roughly around 276,000 shares today. 13.53% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 146.97 million shares overall are being shorted. As I mentioned, shorts were going to be fairly reactive today based on the data points. So we did have jolt numbers, both openings and quits came in better than anticipated. So that doesn't really justify kind of future rate cuts, but at least that goes to show labor market is kind of moving in the right direction. So another good data point, which of course shorts were kind of pulling back because of that. So that's kind of a good thing overall, but still absolute insanity that's been happening. And I kind of find this weird. I don't know if any other charts show this, but Ortex, I don't know if it's glitching, but it does show where SoFi was at. Then it did have a high supposedly today of 67.34. So kind of crazy stuff. So I don't know if some weird stuff is happening behind the scenes or if anyone's other charts show that, but everything that I generally like to look at, nothing like this. So I don't know where Ortex is getting that 67.34 being the high. But one thing I do want to bring up that did occur today is now you're seeing the cost to borrow minimum back at being negative. So there was a good 5 consecutive days of it being positive, so meaning that there is more signs of manipulation. So some broker out there or brokers are paying people to short SoFi. So again, manipulation isn't new to SoFi, so again, it's not really that crazy of a surprise. But looking at the options, 6.23 million in calls, 2.18 in puts, 49% of all the options being done were bullish in nature, and that mostly did occur in the second half of the trading day. But as you can kind of see, kind of low volume, matches with the common stock. So 8.4 million in overall premiums, 14.5 yesterday, and then 12.2 the day prior. So still not necessarily the best. Put/call ratio is starting to get up there. So maybe people are anticipating a little bit of a kind of pullback. But from the bulls, you are seeing a consensus for it to be roughly around that $14 range. And then the bears for it to be sub kind of mostly around that $12.50 to $13 range. So definitely there's a lot more downside anticipated based on this, which is kind of weird. Again, the market had a absolute phenomenal day. SoFi, I would have anticipated it would be like up 3-4%. Kind of matching with a lot of the other growth stocks as well as fintechs. So you just didn't really see institutions buying it as much as I would have thought. Even right here, a lot of strings of selling. Even first thing, there was very, very small amounts of volume. You did have obviously some buying though, but still you had a lot of selling. So I think algorithmic trading was kind of the majority of the volume for SoFi today. But with it closing at 1366, it is trading between this R2 and this R1. So 1371 and then $14 is going to be the next strong target / resistance points. And again, based on the bullish options, people are anticipating for it to be kind of roughly around that $14 range by the end of the week. Flip side, 1354 and then 1326 is going to be the next strong kind of support levels. It did momentarily break below this R1, seems to have went really fast, so I wouldn't really consider this very strong support, at least going forward into the next couple trading days. Only articles really coming up are talking about like student loans and how that could potentially impact SoFi in a positive way. So I don't understand, again, the negative sentiment that is kind of flowing in the market right now against SoFi. No new analyst rating, so we did have that relatively bullish one, if you want to consider it that. That was done yesterday, so $14 hold, initiated coverage, and that was done by Triest, which is also very weird because they pretty much hit up a lot of the other fintechs, and they weren't as optimistic on a lot of the other ones. Even PayPal, I think they lowered their estimates based on where it is currently. So kind of a very, very weird scenario. So again, there's something happening behind the scenes, and I wouldn't put it past it if it is associated to market makers or shorts or something in that capacity. One thing I do want to bring up though, I know it's only Tuesday, but you can kind of start to forward think on manipulation. So this is the current open interest. Again, I know a lot of it is speculation, but if technically market makers do really want to try to push SoFi down, and market makers largely control the algorithmic trading, they don't want to cover that $14 strike price. Currently, there's 31,000 in open interest. So maybe they're just trying to suppress it to ensure that it does not close above 14 by this Friday. Maybe they're just laying the foundation early on, killing the momentum, again, through algorithmic trading. You also do have 7,000 at that 13, 15,000 at that 1350, and then 16,000 at that 14. So again, I wouldn't really put it past market makers to try to cause some disruption, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But luckily enough, it still did close above that 100-day moving average. So that is sitting at 1350. So essentially, even though today it didn't go up as much as a lot of people would have liked, on a technical standpoint, things are still looking pretty good. Stochastic RSI is still considered very oversold, so that could really stand to benefit it in the next couple of trading days, especially with a lot of good data points coming out that could push the market even further. And tomorrow being Wednesday, that's kind of the deadline that Trump gave a lot of countries. So we might be having some good kind of conversations from Trump on this country is coming and kind of approaching. So that might be good for the broader market. In addition to that, we also have some big data, like I said, but just watch for that 1350. That's that 100-day moving average. And then you have the ALMA at 1340. So a lot of good support, essentially right below it. So let me know your viewpoint on SoFi. I know it is a very frustrating stock. I see a lot of comments just saying that this is a kind of a lagging stock. It's just crap and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I gotta admit that the price action with SoFi does really suck. The business is solid, like huge, solid growth. But honestly, the price action and the manipulation is kind of crazy. And just the fact that Lending Club, I see them as kind of the bottom of the barrel in my opinion. Some people might completely disagree with me on that. But the fact that Lending Club alone went up 3.87% and SoFi closed in the red, that's just mind-boggling to me. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Are you getting frustrated? Are you just taking advantage of kind of the suppression and buying the dip? What are you doing with SoFi? I did buy, I think it was only like 10 shares, so nothing substantial, nothing to write home about. But I felt honestly something was up with SoFi, so I might as well throw a little bit of money at it. I still do have a lot of puts that I did sell, so at that $12.50 and $12 strike prices. So if it does get dragged down for whatever reason, I'll be buying more shares at those prices, but yeah, it's a fun ride. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon and give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.